Okay, so let me just start off right away by saying this, okay? Originally, I was going to review both Wolf Creek 1 and 2, but as I was continuing on with reviewing the other films, for clarification, I have seen Wolf Creek 1 and 2. Granted, it's been a while since I've seen them, but I have seen them. So I was planning on re-reviewing them, or not re-reviewing, but I was planning on rewatching them so I can review them. But I decided I don't really want to do Wolf Creek 1 and 2, not now, maybe November, but not now. So since Halloween is coming pretty soon, I mean, it's literally in like 2-3 weeks, well, October specifically. So I decided I'm going to be reviewing 2 different films. And hi, it's Joshua Reviews, but you guys know that already. So the 2 films in question we're going to be reviewing, these movies. So we're going to start off with Dark Ride, since that's what I watched first. And yeah, we're going to be reviewing Dark Ride. Now, interestingly enough, this whole After Dark Horror Fest 8 Films to Die For series, this is a long-going horror series of movies that have been made and distributed by Lionsgate, and I have seen some of them, as a matter of fact, like Mungo, Husk, which I've already reviewed, and a bunch more that I haven't seen, and I gotta get around to watching them because they look so fucking dope. But Dark Ride. So this film is about a bunch of college students, although one of the girls says she's like 17. So I don't know if I'm wrong on that or if I'm right. I don't know fucking clue. So a bunch of college students, I'm just going to say that. A bunch of college students are going together. I guess they're going to some sort of like festival at this beach. But they got some time to kill and they decide to spend the night in a dark ride instead of a motel. And when they get there, an escaped mental patient escaped mental patient. And he basically breaks in and just starts killing them one by one. I mean, that's pretty much all you need for a generic slasher. And, you know, I don't care if it's generic, okay? If Hellfest has taught me anything, you can have a generic-ass story and, you could have generic-ass dialogue. But as long as you make it entertaining, I am so down for it, because Hellfest is a great example. Granted, Hellfest came years after this movie. This movie came out in 2006. But if you haven't seen Hellfest, highly recommend it. Go check out my review last year. But the thing I like about Hellfest is, while the dialogue itself isn't anything remarkably special, and a lot of the scenes that are in the film are just the characters interacting with the haunts and the mazes and the actors, and then there's a serial killer killing them. It works so well because the characters feel fleshed out and real. They feel like a real group of friends that you'd hang out with. So I liked the characters that were presented in that film. I'm just gonna cut right to the chase. I didn't care about a single one of these characters, besides maybe one. But as the film progressed, he just slowly lost me. That is the biggest flaw I have with this film. You can have a basic-ass story, like what I just said, where it's a bunch of characters just basically breaking into a dark ride, and have it be interesting. Have them interact off the things that are in said dark ride. But they don't. I mean, this movie is so dialogue heavy. I mean, there is a lot of dialogue, and none of it's interesting. None of it is engaging. None of the... It's just a bore. It's a big bore. And that is my biggest problem with all these generic-ass slashers, is they are so fucking boring. I don't get it. You're a slasher. You're a slasher. All you have to do is give us some engaging characters, some dope-ass kills, so we can admire the practical effects, and the gorehounds will go, whoa, that was dope. A cool killer, which, by the way, the killer in this film looks dope. He looks dope. He's got this baby. I mean, he doesn't have this on, Um, there's not a thing on the back that shows what he looks like, but the killer looks really cool. He looks really cool in this film, but he's only in it for like maybe 5-10 minutes of the movie. Yeah, most of this movie is just the characters talking about having sex and doing drugs. Now, granted, they do that in Hellfest, but the dialogue feels more natural and less hormonal. I don't know if that's the correct term. Hormonal, whatever. But the characters in that film they're not fleshed out by any means. I mean, I don't even remember their names, but you at least get a feel for what the characters are like and how they interact off each other. Like, for example, I don't remember the two dudes' names in Hellfest, but I definitely remember their interactions off each other because they feel like real friends that would interact. I don't know a damn thing about these characters. They're just talking about, hey, I'm going to get laid. You remember that night we hooked up? You want to have sex? Literally, they pick up a hitchhiker and I thought, okay, we're going to, this is going to be a cool opportunity for us to like get to know about someone that's not in this group. I mean, literally her introduction is she gets in the van and she gives this backstory about how she's, she was hitchhiking and some dude tried to hit on her, and her acting this actress was like overacting. She was, oh my God, her acting was all over the place, but it was so funny. And all the characters' reactions were funny. I was thinking, okay, I know something about this girl. But then as the film progressed, they don't do anything with her character. And I just kept wondering, okay, so what's going on? What's the plot? What are we going to do? Okay, well, we're going to spend 20 minutes just dicking around in one spot of the dark ride. We're not going to go into the interesting part of the dark ride with all the animatronics and all the spooky lights. No, we're going to go backstage and we're going to just wander these cardboard walls and just, oh, I wonder where we are. It's like, okay, look, if you don't want to, look, say what you will about Child's Play 3, that ending where they're in the dark ride, carnival ride, whatever it was, like, yeah, it's unrealistic that a carnival has this amount of fucking Hollywood practical effects and animatronics. But damn, Child's Play 3 went all out with that ending. I was thinking to myself, like, man, I could be watching that movie. None of this is interesting. None of the characters interact with any of the things in this dark ride. I mean, they do nothing. The best part of this film is probably the last 10 minutes and the beginning of this movie. Because the actual beginning, like the whole opening, setup, kill, or whatever, it got me interested. I was like, okay, where's this going to go? It starts off with these two girls going missing in the dark ride. I'm thinking, okay, that was a good setup. I can't wait to see where this goes. Nope. The only real other good thing I can think of is that it's shot fairly confidently. It does have a decent structure for the most part. Like, the structure itself is fine. It's whatever. It's a basic-ass slasher structure or whatever. I mean, you could probably show your grandparents this and they'd be like, oh, that was a spooky movie. I don't know. And the kills, they're pretty good. There's at least one or two kills that I was like, okay, that was pretty cool. But guess what? The characters don't die until like 1 hour into the movie. So I hope you like a lot of boring dialogue about sex and drugs, because that's all you're going to hear. And there's like a 20-minute scene where they're smoking and just kind of, laughing, and nothing is happening in this movie. I really struggle to find anything else to mention besides the points I've just made out. I mean, granted, I'm sure if these videos were scripted or these reviews were scripted, I could probably, actually pinpoint, but since I'm just kind of going off of what I remember, it's bad. It's not a good movie. I mean, I didn't hate it by any means, but I mean, I was insanely let down by a cool-ass concept like this, and I'd like to see another movie like this. So if any Hollywood exec out there is like, hey, let's make a movie about kids getting trapped in a dark ride, it's like, okay, I'll be there. Just don't fuck up, please. I'm gonna give this movie a D. I don't know what else to give it. It's not awful. I mean, someone can probably watch it and enjoy it. I didn't. So let's hope this movie's better. Oh shit.